everyone, and welcome to episode 32 of Around the Kingdom, a Disney Magic Kingdoms podcast by a guy who threw together this show. Coming to you from the Slinky Dog Dash, I'm your host, Steve Squirrel, and co-hosting this week is nobody. This week, I did not even think I'd be able to put together a show. As you might not know, I do have a mini squirrely in the house, not just squirrely, but we have a mini squirrely, and we're doing a lot of stuff to help train her to get to sleep. So recording the show at night is not possible this week, so I'm threw together a show because there's so much to go over this week, and I just wanted to make sure we got something out there. Next week, we will be back recording, and we will have Daniel Guizar coming back to have us on the show. We're excited for that. Before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us as we explore the wonderful world of Disney Magic Kingdoms. I want to thank our Patreons, Carrie Schumann, Kathy Clausen, Honeybee, Kira, and Tom Higgins. If you guys don't know what Patreon is, it's a site where you can pledge a few bucks each month to help support the show. So if you're able to, and you want to help support the show, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/AroundTheKingdom. There are other ways you can be more involved with the show also. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and now YouTube. We have a very active Facebook group, and it's a good way to stay in touch with me and the community of the show. The links to everything will be in the show notes and can be found on the show's main Facebook page. As you know, the kingdom is always changing, so for reference, the show is being recorded Wednesday, May 22nd at around 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time. As you can also see if you're watching on YouTube, the power is out in my house, so another awesome thing going on to get this show recorded. So I'm not even in my studio right now. I'm doing this in my bedroom. So this show is just a giant mess today, but I'm going to do my best to give you a good show. All right, so let's talk about my week in the kingdom. My week in the kingdom was really fun. For my main storyline, last week I was working on welcoming John Darling, and I had mentioned that his drops were pretty easy. I had a pretty good time with them. Well, I was able to welcome John Darling, brought him into my kingdom, so I was super excited about that. Did a whole bunch of quests that I needed to get done for that, and then eventually, and now I have the Welcome Michael Darling quest, and his tokens are a lot more difficult, to say the least. So I can see myself working on welcoming Michael Darling for quite some time, which is fine because he's the last character of the Peter Pan collection that I have to get, so that's okay. I'll finish him up, then we still have the Dumbo content to look forward to, but I'm okay taking my time and enjoying this. One of the things I had also asked for, which I'll probably have in a very future near episode, is I was asking, should I get the Jumping Jellyfish attraction? It's 15,000 elixir in the Merlin shop, and it does drop Michael Darling ears, which are legendary. And so I asked a bunch of people, is it worth it? The general consensus was yes, it's worth it, but I haven't quite pulled the trigger yet. I was waiting to see if the Toy Story Mania was going to have any impact on the Toy Story characters that are coming out, but I kind of realized that I don't really care about that. I think that, I'll just take it as it comes, so I'll probably get the Jumping Jellyfish, and then I can report back to, is it worth it? So what else have I been doing this week? This week, I've been grinding magic really, really hard. I've been doing lots of leveling, and the people I'm leveling have been costing a lot of magic to level. So I feel like as soon as I'm gaining magic, I'm either breaking even at the end of the day or down magic. So I've brought everyone out of storage. I mean, everyone out of storage. Even Maximus. Maximus is out of storage and doing the things that he tries to do. But I literally have everyone going out for 2-hour quests or 4-hour and then overnight. I have everyone going out, and I'm still barely breaking even just because of how expensive the characters that I'm leveling are. So yeah, I'm just grinding magic hard. Also, I could see on the horizon that when they do release some more land, I could see it costing 4 million magic for that plot. So I really need to start grinding and saving just so that I have the opportunity to purchase these things. So I've been doing a lot of that. Leveling this week, was pretty random at the beginning of the week. I was working on John Darling, obviously, and Wendy and Peter, because they all help with Michael Darling. so I wanted to make sure that I had them going. But then once we started hearing more about the Tower Challenge, I started working on the Tower Challenge helpers, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. So that's what I've been doing. If you want to see everyone that I'm leveling, as well as post your own accomplishments, check out the awesome leveling thread that we have in our show's main Facebook group. It has 1,300 entries in it now. Huge. So everyone's showing off their levels, and everyone, it's a really cool thread. So come on into our group and check it out. Finally, the Lifetime Visitors Board. I thought I'd break into the 100,000 zone this week. I did not. I came up a little short. I'm at rank 100,409. So it's slow going, but I'm hoping by next week I will at least gone 410 levels and break into that top 100,000. All right, so that's it for my week in my kingdom. It was fun. This next week in the kingdom, we all know what's going on, so we'll talk about that, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's go to the newcomer tip of the week. Newcomer tip of the week. Make it brief, and I know we talk about this all the time, but it's just keep leveling. Like Dory's like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. You need to just keep leveling, just keep leveling. You really just need to stay on top of it. There should really never be a time when you're not having someone leveling in the castle. It's the most important thing probably in this game, even more than progressing your storyline sometimes, especially when you look at the future of what the events are, and every tower challenge is completely based on levels. So going into this tower challenge, your Mickey and Friends, your Toy Story, all these people, their levels are what makes this event happen. So just keep leveling. Try to level as much as possible. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm not going to drill it in too much deeper. All right, cool. Let's move on. Let's go into show news. All right, so before we get into game news, I just wanted to talk about some things about the show. Some cool stuff. Our Facebook group hit 300 members. It actually has 310 members now, and has become really, really interactive. So it's a great place to be if you are a fan of the show and you want to get some good content. Check out our Facebook group. It's available. The link is on our main Facebook page and in the show notes. Because our group is growing so much, I mentioned last week, I was looking for some people to help out with the social media of the show. So our good moderator, or I should say our admin of the group, Allison, has been promoted to the main Facebook page editor as well. So she's been really on top of stuff on top of our main Facebook page. So make sure you check that out. And then we added 2 new moderators to our Facebook group. So I'd like to welcome Alicia Dickhouse and Morgan Bledsoe. They are 2 new moderators who are going to be joining the group, who have actually already joined our group team. And they're going to be providing some, additional posts and stuff to try to, really make the group even more fun and the community even like a better place to hang out. So I'm really happy to have them aboard. So thank you guys for joining us. Finally, our Facebook page has over 500 likes. So thank you to each and every one of you who will have liked our page. It means a lot to me and to everyone else in the community. All right, let's move on into the game news. So last week we were getting some hints about stuff that was going on as far as like some teasers and stuff. So we did find out there'd be a live stream last Friday. So we had the live stream and it was awesome. Super awesome. Really excited about the stuff to come. So let's get right into it. There are 2 things that were announced during the live stream. 2 major things. The first one was that we're getting Toy Story 4 characters. And so the update released yesterday, which was May 21st. And so the Toy Story characters that are coming to the game are going to be Forky, Ducky, and Bunny. They are permanent content that is going to be that is already introduced to the game, but they don't unlock for about a month. which is right on time with about when Toy Story is going to release in theaters. So they're in the game. You can see them in your character list, but you can't do anything with them for about a month. Another thing from the Toy Story that is permanent is Bo Peep's costume. If you haven't seen the ads for Toy Story 4, which looks really, really good, Bo Peep has a whole new costume. She looks pretty bad ASS, and they've added that costume into the game. We don't know how it's going to be accessible yet, but it's there. As far as attractions go, they added 2 related to Toy Story 4. The first is the Slinky Dog Dash. Yes, it is actually me and Squirrely, our favorite ride that we did. Actually, and I think my wife too, we'll call her Squirrelette. I think it was our favorite ride that we did while we were down at Disney. So really cool to have that come into the park. It looks amazing. So we're really super excited to have that into there. During the live stream also, they had mentioned that they were going to give it to some people during the live stream ahead of time. They were going to give them, and there were some winners. So there were a handful of people who won the Slinky Dog Dash and will be getting it before anyone else has a chance to even get it. And then they also mentioned that there was going to be some sort of giveaway coming up for the people who weren't watching the live stream. So stay tuned to our social media, where we will let you know as soon as they announce something so that you can get your chance to win the Slinky Dog Dash early as well. The other thing that they introduced was the Star Adventurer attraction, which looks like it's something that's going to be in Toy Story 4. So we can expect these things probably to come out in the next month as well, because they're probably going to release around Toy Story 4 time. So there were also some concession stands that were discussed. One of them was the Tail Shake stand, which was Aladdin related. And then there's 2 more that are Toy Story related. They're actually in Toy Story Land. One is called the Lunchbox Tart Stand. And then there's the Grilled 3 Cheese Sandwich Stand. I tried the Grilled 3 Cheese Sandwich when we were in Toy Story Land, and it was amazing. So these are pretty cool concession stands that they've added to the game. So I assume those will be coming out around the same time during Toy Story release. So let's see what else we have. So I think that for the Toy Story content, that is just about it. Again, it probably won't be out until about a month from now. So that's fine. We're going to have the Tower Challenge that will last us, probably about a little over 2 weeks. And then we'll just have another week or 2, and then we'll have the Toy Story content release. So that's exciting. So cool stuff to come. I'm really excited that we're going to have that. And yeah. So now we have one other thing that was discussed, which is the Tower Challenge. Everyone was kind of expecting there'd be a Tower Challenge. It was very, very widely thought about, or at least, like the people, the rumors and the speculation really was going to be that Sultan was going to be the Tower Challenge person that everyone got. Well, we found out that Sultan is going to be in the game, but he's not going to be the final prize of the Tower Challenge. The Sultan is actually going to be a premium character that you can purchase with gems, or I'm sure there'll be a bundle as well. I don't know what it'll include. Maybe it'll include the Aladdin attraction, the Aladdin stand, and Sultan, or maybe it will include Maleficent currency. We'll have to see. But he is going to be the premium character. The final prize in the Tower Challenge is going to be Rajah. Rajah is going to be the Tower Challenge grand prize. So you'll be earning Rajah tokens as you go along through the Tower Challenge. So that's really cool. And remember that all the Aladdin content during this stuff is time limited during the Tower Challenge, and is not permanent content like Toy Story. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the Tower Challenge. So what we found out just yesterday was that, well, everyone knew that Aladdin was going to be in the Tower Challenge. We didn't know where or when, but based on the fact that Rajah was going to be the premium character, or I should say the end story character, For the last few days since the live stream, everyone knew that Aladdin was going to be a part of this. So I started immediately working on leveling my Aladdin characters. I actually ran out of lamps because I've leveled just about everyone. So it's good. I feel pretty comfortable with where everyone's at. I have them. Aladdin's at 9 now, and Aladdin will be the featured character of the collection. And then everyone else I have is around 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range. So I feel pretty comfortable with, how chapter 1 will go. So I've been working on just leveling my Aladdin characters, like I said, until I literally just don't have any more lamps. So, and the Tower Challenge starts in less than a day from now. So I'm done with leveling my Aladdin characters, and I've moved on. So who did I move on to? So we found out yesterday during the Instagram marathon, we found the Frozen collection was going to be the second Tower Challenge helper collection. So the featured character from Frozen is going to be Anna, which I'm very lucky to say is the only character in that collection that I have maxed out. So that's really cool. She'll be the featured character for that collection. And now I've just started leveling my Frozen characters. Elsa just went to 9. Kristoff is going to 9. And I think everyone else I have is either 8 or 9. So I'm pretty comfortable with Frozen. I'll keep working on them for the next 5 days. I will try to level them as much as possible. And just try my hardest to make sure that that gets done. So we'll see. We'll see who the helpers are exactly. We'll talk about that in a bit because we kind of have a little bit of insight into who are going to be the helpers in Chapter 2. Okay, and then finally it was announced in Chapter 3 that the collection helper would be Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph is making their Tower Challenge debut, and Ralph will be the premium character. Or not the premium character. He will be the featured character, which is great because, again, he's the only character I have in the collection who is level 10. So super excited about that. That puts me in a good position. Everyone else I have in the Wreck-It Ralph collection is about 6, 7, some 8s. So I'm not super positioned for this, but it's not bad either. Like, I don't feel bad going into it that I don't have a chance. So I feel good about that. So that's what we know about that. So let me just see what else we want to talk about here. The Tower Challenge begins tomorrow, like I said, on May 23rd at Rope Drop. And that's when it begins. Let's see. So we talked about all that. So I'm sorry, I threw this show together, like I said, so I'm just trying to go through everything here. So yeah, that is basically what the Tower Challenge is going to be. So we'll have a little bit more about that. We'll let you know how we're going along. Me and Daniel will talk all about it on next week's show. So there are some other things that happened during this patch that they talked about during the live stream. So basically, one of the things they mentioned is that they're trying to listen to the community and see what features and things that they would like to see in there. Now, I know we have a feature report every single week with suggestions, and one of the things they had said is that they listen to suggestions, and but it takes them a few cycles to start implementing them. So they've decided to implement a new suggestion. So I'm very confused as to this. So we'll talk about this now. The happiness meter. Okay. Previously, you would get, you have the 4 tiers of happiness. When you got to the second tier of happiness, which was cheerful, you would get a 10% experience, an extra 10% experience from all the things that you collect experience from. When you made the third tier, which was joyous, you would get an additional 10% magic as well from everything that dropped magic. So your attractions and your people. So those were nice little helpers. The magic one is especially nice. The experience one is like, okay, I get it. You can get rid of experience, right? Like, what are the levels for? They're for nothing. Your levels mean nothing in this game. Maybe they will at some point, but all they do is get you a very small amount of magic and 1 gem. So fine, you can get rid of the experience. So let's talk about it. So they've replaced this with 3% experience. Let me start over. Sorry. So they replaced the 10% experience bonus for Cheerful, which is tier 2, with a plus 3% to drop token rate. So you get an extra 3% chance that if you're trying to get a token from an activity, that the extra 3% will drop. So that's a nice bonus, and especially since experience doesn't really mean so much, I like the change. Joyous, instead of the extra 10% magic, you're now going to get a 6% chance to have a token drop increase. So a better shot at getting the tokens that you're trying to get. So, you know, when you get to a later part of the game, it was nice to have had this bonus, especially because grinding magic is difficult and takes a very long time, especially when you're trying to get millions of magic. So that extra 10% makes a big difference when you're doing the long haul. So then the thing that they did not change was when you're at ecstatic, which is the 4th tier, and it's still a 10% bonus drop rate. So you'd say, okay, so you're going to get the 3% and the 6% and the 10%, so you'll have 19% bonus? No. It was confirmed from Gameloft that these do not stack. So when you're at ecstatic, your bonus is still just 10%. So for people that maintain ecstatic happiness, this was actually a negative thing that happened. This wasn't positive. This means you lost the experience bonus, you lost the magic bonus, and you gained no token drop increase. So why? What good did this do for people? This actually was a loss for people. You know, I understand that not everyone keeps ecstatic. I can understand that a large player base, you know, could use the token drop increase, but I don't know. I think that that's the incentive for keeping yourself at ecstatic is to get that token drop increase. That's why I always kept myself that high. I mean, now it's an extra 4% or 7% or whatever, so you're still getting more than you would at other levels. But I think that the magic bonus is a loss. I think that really hurts people who, you know, are longer term players who are trying to grind for leveling characters, trying to grind for things. Because I'm sending characters out every 2 hours, and it's still hard for me to maintain a decent magic level. So for players that don't get to play as often, this is rough. So I'm not super happy about this change. Hopefully they can revisit this and look into it, because I don't see how it's good for people that are even been playing for a few months. I feel like it doesn't take that long to build up to ecstatic. But I don't know. I don't know the official stats. You know, I don't have access to any of that stuff. But I feel like this hurt a large portion of their dedicated player base, and I'm not happy about it. So we'll see. So that's what was revealed during the live stream as well. So that's all the information we had for what they told us. So after the patch was released, happiness got all messed up, and it's still messed up right now. Happiness was dropping at 5% happiness every couple of minutes. So you logged off, you logged back on like an hour later, and your happiness had gone from 99 to 50%. Wishes were giving 10%. I mean, it was just a mess. Happiness was all messed up. I asked for any clarification on what's going on with that, and no one's heard anything. So hopefully this gets fixed, because this morning it was even weirder, because now happiness levels are not really dropping at all, or very slowly, but now wishes only grant 1%. So I'm not really sure what's going on. Hopefully that this is just a bug that will get fixed quickly. Usually Gameloft's pretty good about fixing this. But as it was revealed in the patch notes, that they were also capping the number of wish granters that were in your kingdom at a time to 6. So if you've seen my screenshots before from getting ready for the wish granter event during the big events, I would have 25, 30 ready to go, and then I would wait, and then I would just pop them all at once, and I would try to get to the top of the leaderboard. Now that's not the case anymore. You will only have up to 6 wish granters at a time in your park. I don't know how I feel about this. I guess it's okay. I guess when you have all those people, like the kids lined up at the beginning and they all have wishes over their heads, it kind of ruins the aesthetic of the game. So I can kind of see why they did this, but it is a pretty big change. So it's just something for you to keep in mind. Now, there was one more big change that they didn't discuss during the live stream that happened after the patch was dropped. We had talked a while ago, when probably going back maybe 6, 7, 8 months, they had made a big change to the game where they introduced tokens into the chests. Previously, there was no tokens in the chests. It was just decorations and different items you could get from chests. Then they introduced the tokens, and they made it so that you had, would max out with them. And, it made it harder to get items from chests because you'd be competing to get an attraction with legendary items. And it was a change that not a lot of people were happy with. And the explanation that was given is that there is a big change coming that everyone's going to love coming down the pipeline. We've heard about this for months now, and there's nothing that has been done yet. But another step towards this big change was made in this patch. They took away from the shop the ability to purchase decorations and the ability to purchase some of the concession stands that were staples out there. So, for example, there was the rose bush, the classic bench. There was the concession stands, like the burger stand, that were always available, that you could always purchase. And they're gone. They're no longer in the shop. And so they said that this is just another step towards this big chest change system that's coming. We don't know when it's going to be coming. So we will see. However, while they did this also, they changed the elixir amounts for what you would get from a lot of different decorations. For example, we had talked a while ago about the fact that certain concession stands, I think the ones from the Abu stand or maybe it was a Mulan stand, the Disney anniversary stands, you'd only get 2 elixir for them. I mean, that was silly, 2 elixir. So they made a change to the elixir system, and now a lot of the things that were 2 elixir, you now get 35 elixir for. So you're probably saying to yourself, okay, that's cool, which is what I thought at first. I was like, okay, cool, I'll get a little bit more elixir if I decide to blow these things up. But what some people discovered is that if if you still hadn't updated, you could purchase a whole bunch of these old items for very cheap amounts of magic and stockpile them, like thousands. And then you could update the game and sell them all back and get a ton of elixir in return. I know people that have profited and made about 80,000 elixir, and it costs them a lot of magic because you're spending the money to purchase the item. You're also spending the money to blow it up in the cauldron. But still, it's a way that you could actually have purchased elixir with currency, with magic. And so congratulations to all the people who figured that out. This is not the first time something like this has happened after an update where people have figured something out like this. So my, not just newcomer, but my suggestion of the week for everyone is to wait to update. If there is nothing significant that you need right away from a patch. Like if a patch drops on a Tuesday and the Tower Challenge doesn't start till Thursday, there's nothing you need until Thursday morning. So maybe wait till Wednesday night and, check the Facebook groups and Reddit and see if there's anything big that drops or changes that you can maybe take advantage of. Because this was huge. 80,000 elixir can get you, two 30,000 elixir attractions, and you'll have almost enough to get another 15,000 elixir attractions. So actually you'll have enough. So that would be 75. So you have enough right there. And that's a big deal because you can't, it's basically like purchasing them with magic. And that's something you can't do. So that's my suggestion. All right. So I think I've covered all the news that was pretty relevant. We've talked about the new characters that were being introduced, the costume, attractions, concessions. So that is the news here. Oh, there was one other thing that I wanted to mention. And that was that a very smart person in Reddit had determined, and we posted this in our Facebook group, it's actually pinned to the top, that you could click on the Radiant Chest from the 7th of this month. And when you clicked on it, it would show the current items available in a Radiant Chest. The next Radiant Chest is going to be available at the beginning of Chapter 2. So in there, we were able to see, the tokens for characters. And those tokens are usually for the characters that are going to be in the event or in that chapter. So it gave us a little bit of insight onto who are those characters going to be that are going to be the helpers in Chapter 2 of the Tower Challenge. If you want to find this out and you want to take a look at this article on Reddit, we posted the link on our Twitter and our Facebook group. It's pinned to the top. So check it out. This will give you a little bit of a head start on Chapter 2. All right, let's move on. I'm trying to keep this episode short today. But there's no events that happened this week, so there's no event of the week to discuss. So let's move right on into the Disney Dad Joke of the Week. The question is, how do you catch Chip and Dale? Well, you climb up a tree and act like a nut. You're welcome. All right, let's move on. This week, is it worth it? We're going to skip it. I'm trying to keep this short and sweet today. We will do a new Is It Worth It next week. A feature report. We're not doing any features this week. Again, I really just wanted to do a news show for you guys. So I do have quite a few feature reports that were sent in to the show. I'll hold those for next week. If you do have a feature report you'd like to see implemented, please write in using any of our various social media platforms and let us know. Your idea could be on next week's show. And then around the community, we're just going to skip right by that this week. There are no questions that I have to go over. So we'll just go past that now. And let's just wrap up the show. We had one new 5-star rating and one new 5-star review in the USA. I will get the international report sometime soon, but I don't have it now. I do have the review here. Let me just pull it up because it's not there. Here we go. Sorry, I'm not figured it out here. You know what? I will just have to read this on next week's show because I don't have it available. Let me just give me one more second, see if I can pull this up. Okay. I got it. Thank you for bearing with me. This is from Obey Fez. Awesome podcast about the game we love. Thanks for your awesome podcast. My daughter and I listen every week on our drive to field hockey practice. It's exciting to be able to listen to a podcast all about the game we love. Well, thank you so much. I hope you and your daughter have an awesome time at field hockey, and I hope you win. But if you don't, it's all about having fun anyway. All right. So that's it. A shout out goes to Alicia and Morgan for being our new moderators and for being willing to put some awesome content into our show and into our groups. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Next week's show, Daniel Guizar joins us from the Disney Magical Kingdoms Champions group, and he will be joining us again. We love having him on the show, and we'll talk all about the start of the Tower Challenge and what's to be coming in Chapter 2 at that point. So that's it. We're looking forward to having a full show again next week. If you want to be more involved with the show, you can follow us on Twitter at ATK Podcast and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/ATK Podcast. Here you'll find out before anyone about any breaking news that we hear, information on contests and giveaways, when new shows are published, and of course my ramblings and photos from my day-to-day playing. The show's Facebook group is up, and it's a great way for us to easily interact, and you can interact with me and the other fans of the show as we talk about our favorite game. The link to our group will be in the show notes and can also be found on the show's main Facebook page. We are now on YouTube. If you want to watch the show and see me and my awesome guests, please head on over and subscribe to our channel, like the video, and smash the bell to get notified when a new show goes live. The link to our channel will be in the show notes. If you want to help support the show, please head on over to iTunes, subscribe to the podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. Doing this is quick and easy, it costs you nothing, but helps us greatly to be seen by other people so they can enjoy the show also. All 5-star reviews will be read at the end of each episode. Listening to the show is all we could really ask for, but if you do want to help support us in another way, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/AroundTheKingdom. We're halfway towards our first goal to help the production of the show, and it's a great way to show your support for about $1 an episode. All Patreons will get a special shout out at the beginning of each episode. Again, it's patreon.com/AroundTheKingdom. The link will be in the show notes. Thanks again for joining us this week. I'm Steve Squirrel. I hope you have a great night, and we will see you around the kingdom next week.